The world is descending into chaos, and people are most concerned about sanitation. Which is good, I guess, but they seem to be taking it to extreme lengths. Border crossings are on the rise, and not the way that you would normally think. Americans are crossing into Mexico to buy toilet paper. Americans are reportedly, and this is according to Newsweek, crossing into Mexico to buy toilet paper and other household items as stores in the U.S. continue to struggle to meet demand from shoppers stocking up on supplies amid the redacted outbreak. On Tuesday, local news broadcaster WKBN 27 News reported that Californians had been flooding into northern Baja looking to buy toilet paper, water, and other items. The desperate attempt to stock up on supplies comes as stores around the world have seen aisles holding toilet paper, soap, and other sanitary supplies left empty by shoppers afraid they may be unable to get these supplies. But that's not the only article. Here's another one here. Shredded t-shirts used as toilet paper back up California city sewer. And this is in Redding. A Northern California city is asking residents not to use t-shirts as toilet paper as panicked customers exhaust toilet paper aisles nationwide in response to redacted. COR Wastewater Management responded to a sewer backup from shredded t-shirts being used in place of toilet paper, the city of Redding tweeted on Thursday. Remember, if you use anything other than toilet paper, bag it, do not flush it. Wastewater Management employees worked Wednesday night to clear the strips of t-shirt behind the clog at a lift station, according to Reddit record Searchlight. Here's another article that demonstrates the moral virtues of modern society. Somebody broke into a DC restaurant's storage unit and only stole hand sanitizer and cleaning products. Thousands of dollars worth of booze and other valuables from Republic Cantina were left untouched. The restaurant's owner was quoted as saying this: "It was relatively sophisticated as these things go. The person planned ahead and brought bolt cutters and cut through what is a pretty robust security cage." When he went to check on the storage unit after being notified by police, thousands of dollars worth of booze and other valuables were still there. It wasn't until today the building security reviewed camera footage that the owner learned what was stolen: 2 jugs of hand sanitizer and other cleaning supplies. In other news, how are millennials dealing with this? You have to ask yourself, how will this generation deal with something like this? Well, according to KOMO News, emergency cautions against mixing vitamin powder with liquor to make quarantinis. Quarantinis, I like it. This woman here, Marilyn Starkloff, posted, "Time for a quarantini," posting a picture with a miniature bottle of gin, which has been poured out, and some emergency. The company itself, on their verified account, decided to chime in. "We do not recommend taking any of our products with alcohol." Man, you guys are no fun. All joking aside, they don't really seem to benefit from coming out to say not to do this unless it would actually be bad. So maybe, as funny as this sounds, maybe don't mix your emergency with gin. In other news, articles are coming out asking for people to stop using HD when streaming Netflix. This is on CNN Business. The European Union is urging Netflix and other streaming platforms to stop showing video in high definition to prevent the internet from breaking under the strain of unprecedented usage during the redacted. With so many countries and forced lockdowns to fight the spread of the virus, hundreds of millions working from home, and even more children out of school, EU officials are concerned about the huge strain on internet bandwidth. European Commissioner Thierry Breton, who is responsible for the EU internal marketing covering more than 450 million people worldwide, tweeted Wednesday evening that he had spoken with Netflix CEO Reed Hastings. Breton called on people and companies to switch to standard definition when HD is not necessary in order to secure internet access for all. Just imagine if the internet were to break. I don't have the article in front of me, but there was one claiming that people playing video games at home using multiplayer are taking up all the bandwidth. It turns out that they are taking up a very small amount of bandwidth, especially compared to Netflix. But as always, the hobby of video games tends to be a scapegoat for the news media. And next, we have an inspiring story from over in Canada. A single factory is now working 24/7 to keep Kraft Dinner on Canadian grocery shelves. Kraft Dinner production lines at the Montreal plant responsible for supplying all of Canada's mac and cheese supply are now working non-stop to produce 1 million extra boxes to meet an unprecedented demand. The plant manager said that she and the 960 plant employees are feeling calm and prepared for whatever happens next. People are proud, they said. They feel that they're contributing to a noble cause, to serving the country. Big shout out to all of the people who have to work overtime right now. You guys are holding things together and we appreciate you. And finally, let's end with something amusing. Over on Twitter, people have been sharing stories about their interactions with people at the grocery store. In true Jussie fashion, people have began sharing stories like this. So I had my first breathing while Asian moment, went out for groceries, and an older masked white woman passed by the line and shouted, "F you" at me for no apparent reason. As I stared at her, she pulled off her mask, coughed directly at me, turned on her heel, and walked off. I'm willing to bet, I'm willing to throw, I don't know, $5 whole that there was a Nigerian man who quickly chimed in, "This is MAGA country." So there are all these people now on Twitter claiming that they've been interacting with forms of xenophobia all of a sudden. This has been a grift of theirs for a while now, claim to be victimized and then open up a GoFundMe, and what do you know? Both Team Red and Team Blue do this, by the way. I can say, however, that when a story comes out like this, and it's typically a person crying the R card, they are typically full of it. The whole R hysteria is stupid. You guys remember being kids, right? Everyone was a kid at one point, right? And when we were kids, other kids will find the most random thing about you and rip on you for it. Oh, look at this guy's shoes. Look at his socks don't match, or they're geniuses. Kids are geniuses at picking apart people and finding ways to rip on them. Now, in this particular scenario, do you think that this kid is actually outraged that his socks don't match or whatever the thing was? No, he just likes messing with people. Even if somebody is xenophobic, there is more going on in each person's life than anybody ever knows. I'd be willing to bet that outbursts are typically related to things going on in that person's life, but don't let that stop Twitter and these social media mobs from labeling somebody as undesirable, something that should be neutralized. You've seen it. They say the most vile things about people that they label with the R label. I have never seen them hold any other people with that level of contempt. And you don't even have to actually fit the label. Just once they decide that's who you are, it's over. The meme becomes a reality. It's incredibly mean-spirited of them, and I'm not sure if it's intentional. Maybe this culture they've been raised in has them believing that all of this stuff is real. It wouldn't really surprise me, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, you should treat other people with the respect that you expect in return. But social media, and especially the mainstream media, have been fanning the flames of societal collapse for so long, a lot of people have stopped seeing through it, even when it's obvious. But as this ideological genre has shown us, this group of people is very quick to turn on themselves. Here's another account, albeit not with very much engagement. This definitely happens to most black people a couple times a year. Breathing while Asian, give me a break. Asians are often the ones screaming at black people passing their stores. You can see a little bit of cope in the comments as well. Usually I'd be like, this is an unnecessary comparison, but considering what's going on right now and how Asians are looking to black people for nods and hugs, when throughout history all they've done is steal and spit on black people, I support this post. Crying emoji. I just would love to ask this person, so once you've gotten rid of all the bad guys, once you have the world just the way you want it, when all of the undesirables are gone, when all that is left are people like you, what are you going to do to secure your future? What are you willing to do to protect what you have? To prevent somebody else that would have been you years ago from taking it from you? Would you perhaps become the exact same thing that you pretended was so awful? I don't believe for a single second that anybody on social media that complain non-stop about this stuff is better than anybody else, despite what they're going to try to tell you. I know I seem to be repeating myself. I'm sure I've said this all a million times, but it just never gets old. It's baffling, really. Can you imagine living like that, where everything is about who's a bigger victim? And it's real rich, too, hearing people like this complain. There are so many things going on in the world right now. Tens of millions of Americans out of work. Just everything that's happening right now, and this person wants to complain about some invisible boogeyman. If your life is so good that you have to make stuff up, maybe your life isn't so bad. Maybe if somebody being rude to you at the store, even if it did happen, maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe, who cares? So, in conclusion, if you use anything besides toilet paper to wipe, make sure you throw it away into the trash. It will break your septic system. Wet wipes are the same way. Don't put them in your toilet. Don't mix emergency with gin to make quarantinis. Canadian factory workers are working tirelessly to secure the existence of our future and a future for craft dinner. So I had my first breathing while Asian moment. I was at the grocery store, not wearing a mask, and this woman walked up to me, coughing in my face. I turned my head, and in an instant, she turned herself into a pickle. Can you believe that? A pickle. How funny is that? And to conclude this video, the Cuomo brothers were on CNN last night, and they had a little bit of familial banter. We'll end with that. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. To give you a little bit of context, Chris Cuomo from CNN had his brother, Governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, on his show. At one point, Chris had to wrap things up for a commercial break. You'll see this happen on a lot of TV shows when the guests talk a little too long or they need to cut away. Andrew, though, seemed a little frustrated at Chris trying to wrap up the interview. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll conclude with that video. So thank you everybody for stopping by the channel. I will be doing a live stream tonight at around 10 p.m. my time, 1 a.m. Eastern time. Feel free to tune in for that, and I will see you all later.
New York, Andrew Cuomo, of course, my brother. Thank you for coming back to the show.
Mom told me I had to. Theory of operating.
All right, so let's do this.
That's
Governor,
nice
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I want specific numbers. Well, then don't. Then don't. If you're
I know, but I have to take
about interrupting me.
I know,
Don't
but
interrupt me.
you have
Okay.
a little bit of Pop's
All
gift
right,
where
that's
you
what I'm
just
saying.
kind of keep going. Let me take a commercial, and then when we come
and
back...
you don't. You don't. Oh.
Thank you very much for your patience. I appreciate it. We'll be back right after this.